Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCoy in Washington. Now, it could soon be cheaper to operate a factory of robots in the United States than employing manual labor in Africa. A report from the Overseas Development Institute warns that automation could have a devastating effect on developing economies unless governments invest urgently in digitization and skills training. Henry Ridgewell has more.
Outsourcing production by using cheap labour in the developing world has underpinned the global economy for decades. But technology could be about to turn that on its head. Research from the Overseas Development Institute focused on the example of furniture manufacturing in Africa.
In the next 15 to 20 years, robots in US are actually going to become much cheaper than Kenyan labor, particularly in the furniture manufacturing industry. So this means that around 2033, American companies will find it much more profitable to reshore production back, which means essentially get all the jobs in production back from the developing countries to the US. And that obviously, can have very significantly negative effects for jobs in Africa.
As robots are getting cheaper, people are getting more expensive.
So the cost of a robot or the cost of a 3D printer, they're declining at similar levels, around 6% annually. So, that's a significant decline, whereas wages in developing countries are rising.
By 2038, the ODI predicts it will be cheaper to make clothing in the United States using robots than to import it from Ethiopia. Last year, sports giant Adidas invested in automated plants in Germany and the United States, including using 3D printers to make these sneakers.
We've seen that there are reshoring examples where Adidas shoes have reshored their production back from Vietnam, and that has led to a loss of like 1,000 jobs in Vietnam till now. And that's going to be significantly increased in the future.
Adidas bosses say they do not envisage further large-scale reshoring of jobs. But there is no doubting the challenges posed by automation to manual labour in developing countries. Some are fighting back. Kenyan firm FunKids has invested heavily in computer-aided design and manufacturing of furniture.
Using these technologies, they've been able to achieve impressive growth, and they've also expanded to regional markets like Rwanda and Uganda. So they've utilized this technology and actually made it into something that they can use, to grow. So if done well, digitalization does have immense, opportunities and potential for African countries to capitalize on.
FunKids CEO says the government needs to match her firm's enthusiasm for technology.
We have machines that sit idle because we don't have skilled people. There's many people who need jobs. Yes, we agree. But if they have no skill, I'd love to employ you, but you need a skill. Otherwise, you cannot operate our machines. So we are urging all institutions, government, please, let's take this skills gap as a crisis.
That call is echoed by the ODI report authors, who urge African governments to use the current window of opportunity to build industrial capabilities and digital skills before the jobs crunch hits. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.
At least 3,600 teachers in Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria, are being trained to better teach children impacted by insurgency in the region under a program organized by the government and the World Bank. Office equipment and vehicles are also being provided to aid the learning process and improve education. Channels Television's correspondent Freedom Haslon compiled this report.
Children's early years are a crucial stage in their development, as they are highly impressionable during the period. Events and experiences, especially bad ones, are likely to stay with them if not properly addressed. For school-age children in Nigeria's northeast, the Boko Haram insurgency not only affected their education, it also had psychological effects on them. Not unaware of this, the federal government, working with the Adamawa State government and the World Bank, is organizing training for about 3,600 teachers from worst communities on how to handle the psychological needs of students.
The same additional financing credit in particular is meant to support the government of 6 northeast states in the area of improving access and quality of education, strengthening the monitoring and evaluation of learning process.
The intervention of the World Bank is on the basis of its objectives of providing relief in various aspects to areas affected by the crisis.
It is therefore most gratifying to be part of this distinctive ceremony, which is well aligned with the key components of the project development objectives, which include the training of teachers in psychosocial support and pedagogic enhancement to deal with trauma, stress, and displacement, as well as the training of members of school-based management committees, SDMCs.
For the Adamawa State government, the support from the federal government and the World Bank is coming at the right time.
Today's program marks yet another milestone in the history of our dear state, and in particular, education family, as it will go a long way in supplementing the effort of the state government in revamping the ailing condition of education in the state. I'm aware that the intervention is meant to improve access to quality education and learning environment.
The intervention includes provision of office equipment, vehicles and renovation of office complex to enable schools and teachers do their jobs effectively.
When Boko Haram happened, some of them were in classes, while others are at home. So with this training now, the training will help in psychologically try to motivate them again, to bring them back to limelight in order to assist even the people, to ensure the people, giving people the hope that government is doing something about them and they also can also be taken care of.
The provision follows a state of emergency declared by the Adamawa State government in the education sector. With infrastructure and capacity building, it adds to the much-needed investments to undo the negative impact of the insurgency.
It's time now for a short break, and we'd like to remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and other programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, searching for Togo's football future stars. It's a grassroots initiative to find and develop fresh talent for a winning team. We'll bring you that story after the break.